there were 295 people who died in this plane crash today. There have been over 200 people, even before the Israeli invasion today, over 200 Palestinians had been killed by Israeli rockets. And today, Israel began a ground assault of the Gaza Strip. This is a massive assault, air, land, and sea. Israel began its ground invasion of the Gaza Strip shortly after 10 p.m. Thursday night, that's Tel Aviv time, saying it would target tunnels that infiltrate its territory. Now, it was just yesterday that the BBC reported the death toll of over 209 days of shelling by the Israelis. And of course, that came in the wake of these 4 children who were killed on a Gaza beach. And as they were attacking today, CNN was saying that it was one of the most densely populated areas. They didn't know what the casualties were yet, but they knew that there would be a lot of casualties of Palestinians. Well, yes, take a look at how densely populated Gaza City is. Comparing it to some of the other cities around the world, it has 42,600 people per square mile. Now, to give you an idea of what that is, the Washington Post has an article here showing these relative sizes of different cities. Now, they've got some cities like Mumbai and Hong Kong and Karachi, Pakistan. But if you want to compare it to some American cities or to some other cities in Europe, for example, let's compare it to Tel Aviv. There they are right there, about 15,000, same approximate size population density as London. Those are about 3 times less dense in terms of population than Gaza City is. New York City, for reference, is about 27,000. If you look at Manhattan, it's 69,000. Those aren't shown on the chart. Miami is 10,000. LA is 10,000. So that gives you an idea that when Gaza City has 42,000 people per square mile, that is a very heavily populated area. Washington and Chicago, only about 3,500, about 1/12 as densely populated. So when they invade this small area with this many people in there, the casualties are going to be gigantic. And we don't have much information right now other than the fact that the invasion has started. There will, of course, be more information about that as the situation develops. Now, today, Obama banned the purchasing of any AK-47s, and this, of course, is also tied into the Ukrainian conflict. This is part of the sanctions on Russia. But there's something else to this that should cause us all some concern, and that is what the Treasury Department put on their site. Many of the sanctions are based on United Nations and other international mandates. They are multilateral in scope and involve close cooperation with allied governments, according to the Treasury Department. That, of course, is the article up on Infowars.com by Kurt Nimmo. And Kurt Nimmo also points out this. He said the criminalization of an entire line of foreign manufactured firearms is possible, they say, under, quote, national emergency powers. And there is no appeal process. This should frighten us a great deal. The fact that he could maintain that what is going on in the Ukraine, even before this airliner was shot down, constituted a national emergency, and that he could prohibit the purchasing of AK-47s, which happen to be the most effective weapon for a civilian population to protect itself because they are so forgiving of maintenance. They're very easy to keep using them. They take all kinds of use and they keep clicking. They're kind of like the Energizer Bunny of military rifles. Now, I think it's also interesting to look back about a year again, back to August of last year, 2013, a story by Kit Daniels, where the U.S. Army bought 600,000 Soviet AK-47 magazines. They're trying to get those magazines, I guess, off of the market, just like they're trying to dry up the market for other types of ammunition. So these are 600,000 magazines, each of them fully loaded. That means they've got 18 million rounds. And to try to give people an idea of just how large this would be, how heavy it would be, Kit Daniels, to put it in perspective, said all these magazines combined weigh more than 7 18-wheelers at the maximum legal weight of 80,000 pounds. In other words, that's a lot of magazines. And these were AK-47s. Now, it gets even more interesting because the federal government, in buying all of these AK-47 fully loaded magazines, is buying something that's not even being used by the U.S. military or by NATO. And now, of course, Obama has used an executive order to infringe on the Second Amendment, saying that what's going on in the Ukraine is already a national emergency. They're pushing for war, just as they pushed for war in Syria. We got them to back down last year. We need to get people to back off of this rhetoric that's being pushed by both Fox News and CNN and MSNBC. All the mainstream Mockingbird media is pushing that we need to do something about this. The Republicans and the Democrats are both trying to use this airliner going down as justification to come after Russia, to come after Putin, to expand the new Cold War into a hot shooting war.
This is Alex Jones for InfoWarsLife.com. The latest in preparedness is now here. An electrically stabilized colloidal silver solution that can be added to both your home cabinet and preparedness pack alike. Concentrated to 30 parts per million in what has been dubbed the survival silver solution. And it's entirely free of toxic artificial additives that are loaded into many products. Purchase your bottle of InfoWarsLife.com Silver Bullet Colloidal Silver today and find other amazing supplements at InfoWarsLife.com.